to see you again, ChesCo Gridiron Insider faithful. Welcome to our Week 5 show. Backed by popular demand, we have highlights of all 8 games. Coach Tom Wolf interviews Downingtown head coach Tom Klein. And a brand new segment to our show includes Coach Mitten, Coach Wolf, and myself in a roundtable discussion getting you ready for the game of the year in the Chessmont so far between Downingtown West and Westchester Ruston. Both teams are 5-0 and are currently top 5 seeds in the PIAA playoff rankings. A return appearance from our friend Nate Heckenberger to discuss the big Downingtown West Ruston game and our final predictions. So stay tuned in our best episode yet. But first, a word from Studio One, and then we'll go right into the highlights. Highlights of this week's games are brought to you by Studio One, the home of ChesCo Gridiron Insiders for our inaugural season. Studio One also houses Sports Vault. Sports Vault is your premiums provider of sports-related autographed and non-autographed merchandise. Sports Vault is the leader in licensed sports memorabilia, novelties, trading cards, and custom framing. Sports Vault is located at 520 East Lancaster Avenue in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. We are always looking to add sponsorship and join our family here at ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. This week, we are adding a Player of the Week segment, and pretty soon we may add an Upset of the Week that you can sponsor. Just send an email to and we can set you up with the sponsorship package of your choice.
Let's start with the Westchester Ruston Golden Knights visiting the Kennett Blue Demons. You're going to see here Ruston strikes early on their first offensive play. His fullback David Jacobs runs the fullback trap 51 yards down to the 1-yard line. He's knocked out right at the 1, and that sets up a 1-yard plunge from Chase Hatton, and it's 7-0 Ruston. Ruston has the ball again here in the red zone, and quarterback David McLean tries to throw the corner route for the score. Here's McLean looking in the corner. He's picked off by Gavin Rich of Kennett. Big play there for the Blue Demons. Kennett with the ball deep in their own territory now. You're going to see them coming up here, the quarterback in the gun. And wide receiver Jolax Carabal takes the jet sweep and takes off like a jet, scampering 63 yards and setting up a Blue Demon field goal, which cuts the Ruston lead to 7-3. Okay, we're in second quarter action right now. Ruston shows they can also run the jet sweep as Ryan Loper goes 47 yards for the score to put Ruston up 14-3 on the Blue Demons. Loper's a heck of a back.
Yeah, like how he got in there, snuck in almost.
All right, our next clip's going to show Ruston right past midfield and Kennett territory. Different fullback, same fullback trap, same result. This time Joey D'Antonio rumbles 45 yards to make it a 21-3 Ruston lead.
And then Ruston wins 38-3. That's the final.
Okay, we're looking at Westchester East as they travel to Coatesville to take on the Red Raiders. 4th down on the opening drive for Coatesville. You're going to see quarterback Matt Ortega Jr. finds Kawan James for the 25 yards TD. Nice throw here. And Coatesville takes an early 7-0 lead.
No, if it was a nice throw, but it got the job done.
Yeah. Okay, you're going to see here Coatesville's going to take advantage of a James interception of Westchester East quarterback Nate DeRosa. Ortega's going to boot left and finds Josh Van Orden for the score right here, and that makes it 21-0 Coatesville, and they're rolling at this point. Okay, here's a Westchester East highlight. They're going to show some trickeration here with a fake punt as punter Fenton Culp keeps the ball for a 45-yard gain, which surprised the Red Raiders defense.
Surprised me too, Pete. I mean, 4th and 23 in your own territory, down 21-0, and you run a fake punt. I'd love to know the percentage chances of that converting, but it did. So obviously, Westchester East knew something I didn't. So great job there by Fenton Culp.
Yeah, Fenton Culp, and he's the top back for the Vikings, and he's going to take a direct snap here on the play right after the fake punt and punch it in to make it 21-7 Coatesville. So, the trickeration worked for the Vikings. I don't know if it was a high percentage, as you said, Coach, but, gets them on the board.
Yeah, that's a wildcat play right there. But unfortunately for Westchester East, Coatesville comes away with the victory, 42-7.
Okay, Upper Moreland, undefeated Upper Moreland, travels to J. Oscar Dick Stadium to take on the Henderson Warriors, and they left with a big win. The lone highlight for the Warriors is right here, is running back Brady Collins cruises for a 53-yard TD. Collins is a real nice back, just that the Warriors defense was lacking in this game.
It's a shame they couldn't have gotten him loose a couple more times.
Yeah.
So the final is going to be 42-7. Upper Moreland leaves O&J Dix with the win.
Okay, we're at our game of the week. Was a high-scoring affair with the Shanahan Eagles taking on the Unionville Longhorns, and it was Unionville's homecoming game. Shanahan took the opening kickoff, marched down the field, culminating in his 14-yard TD pass from Anthony Aguila to Nate Bracken, 7-0 Shanahan. Aguila 10 for 10 on the night. Okay, Shanahan with the ball again in Unionville territory at the 33-yard line. They extend the lead to 14-0 as Aguila takes the quarterback power into the end zone for the 33-yard score. 14-0 Shanahan.
He looked fast there, Pete.
Yeah, he sure did. He's a nice player. Coach Myers says best athlete on the team. Unionville responds with a big 4th and 1 here as they go for it. A 61-yard touchdown run by fullback Owen Simcox. He breaks free. 14-7 Shanahan in a back-and-forth game.
Going for it down 14-0 in your own territory, and, man, you struck gold there.
Yeah. The Longhorns not to score at 14 here, as you're going to see, as junior quarterback Tommy McGinnis, who's having a really good year, throws a beautiful post to Drew Paleo for a 43-yard touchdown, and we're all tied at 14. Beautiful throw.
Great throw.
Okay, closing in on halftime, you're going to see Shanahan deep in Unionville territory. And they were leading at this point, and they extend their lead to 28-17 here as Aguila finds his favorite target, Aiden Civitella, who makes a great adjustment for the TD catch.
That's a great catch.
That's a great catch.
Absolutely.
He's a nice player.
Yeah, unfortunately, he probably shouldn't spin the ball. That's going to get them a 15-yard penalty.
Unionville's not done yet, though. Shanahan kicks off after the Civitella touchdown. As you're going to see McLaughlin take the kickoff, and he's going to go 55 yards, setting the Longhorns up in Eagles territory.
Looked like a fake reverse there, right?
It did, didn't it? I think it was. Yeah, so that he runs it down to the 40-yard line of Shanahan. And time's winding down here. There's not much time left in the first half. And McGinnis is going to drop back. Left-hander drops back, throws a jump ball as time winds down, and Paleo hauls it in on the Shanahan 7 with 1 second left in the half. Unionville kicks the field goal to seize momentum and cut the lead to halftime to 28-17 in favor of the Eagles. Unionville takes the second half kickoff and grinds down the field with McLaughlin plowing in for the TD. He would then run a 2-point conversion in to cut the lead to 3 at 28-25 Shanahan. And it's really living up to our game of the week.
Absolutely. And Unionville had all the momentum.
We're moving to the fourth quarter. Shanahan had scored to make it 35-25, but Unionville is knocking on the door, looking to make it a
play of the game.
Play of the game. This time Aguila makes the play on defense, sticking his helmet on the ball, forcing the fumble, which Shanahan recovers. And the Eagles grind out the clock to dampen Unionville's homecoming, 35-25.
Great game.
Okay, we head to Delaware County, where the Oxford Hornets travel to face Sun Valley Vanguards. The big story in this game is the Oxford defense. Here, you're going to see quarterback Nate Winters comes up with the tip pass and returns it deep in the Vanguard territory. I thought he was going to go on this, Coach.
I mean, that's what he's been doing all year. I just figured he'd for surely take it in, but just stepped out.
Yeah. Okay, you're going to see on the next play, Oxford running back Joel McClain, who's having a great year, converts the turnover into points, scoring from 17 yards out.
It was his pick, right?
Yeah.
So he might as well get the score.
7-0 Oxford.
Justice prevails.
And here's another Sun Valley back to throw. Winters collects an interception, thwarting the Sun Valley drive deep in Oxford territory. The Oxford defense really was huge in this game. There's different play, same result as Sun Valley's knocking on the door again. But this time the Hornet defense forces a Sun Valley fumble and recovers, ending another scoring threat for the Vanguards. And Oxford comes away with a 29-14 win.
Yeah, great win for Oxford. That's 2 in a row as they go into the big Unionville matchup this week. Looking forward to it.
Okay, the Avon Grove Red Devils visited Cotmeyer Stadium in Downingtown West, giving them all they could handle as they looked to unset the undefeated Whippets. On West's first offensive possession, quarterback Cole Bricker is hit as he is about to throw by Red Devil outside linebacker Michael Bulla, who forces the fumble and the turnover. Avon Grove, they're
big
fired
play.
up.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and they get on the board first right after the turnover as their quarterback Frank Hugerworth finds halfback Kevin Francis sneaking into the flat wide open, and it's 6-0 Avon Grove.
Nice little pick play there, right?
Yeah,
It's a double slant, and then the running back found his way out, and his coverage guy couldn't get to him.
Yeah,
a lot of teams run that down near the goal line.
We're going to see West kicking off here, and Avon Grove continues to shock the home team as Sebastian Binstead returns a West kickoff 40 yards into West territory.
I was talking to a Ruston coach this week, and they've been looking at film, said it seemed like for whatever reason, Downingtown West has had difficulty covering kicks. There seems to be an alleyway that a lot of teams have been taking.
Wow.
So we'll see if that, if they don't clean that up this week, Ruston might take that advantage of that.
Yeah, Avon Grove.
This might be the play of the game right here.
Yeah, they reclaim the lead as Hugerworth.
Oh, no, I missed it. So, yeah, that's –
Yeah, Hugerworth finds Dylan Laganella for an 11-yard TD, 13-6 Red Devils. The Whippets respond, however, though, as you're going to see Darian Smith, who had 105 yards on 6 carries.
Wow.
Takes the handoff on a power and goes 61 yards to tie things up at 13-13. Smith is a great two-way player, Coach.
Yep. We talked about it on the breakdowns. He'll be headed to West Point next year. We're not sure if he's going to play offense or defense. That speaks volumes about the athlete and player that he is.
Yeah, but Avon Grove won't go away. I mean, the Whippets had to think that this would be an easier contest, and you're going to see right here, Hugerworth finds Binstead behind the Whippets secondary for a big 35-yard gain.
This is all first half action, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So I jumped the gun here. This is really what's going to be the play of the game, and I think this is what turns the tide. So it's at the end of the half, and basically Avon Grove could be going in to take a 20-13 lead, and Pete, this is unbelievable. Take a look what happens.
Yeah. Avon Grove's on the D West 4-yard line looking to retake the lead, and Whippet defensive coordinator Phil Plank dials up a blitz, bringing both inside linebackers, forcing Hugerworth to throw the ball late off his back foot. Outside linebacker Cobus Jackson collects the errant throw and gallops 96 yards for the game, shifting pick 6. West holds on to improve to 5-0. That's the play of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's 14-point swing right there, right? I mean, if Avon Grove goes in at half 20-13,
who knows?
I mean, who knows, right? I mean, but instead Downingtown West did, and then they came out and scored again in the second half. So,
okay, now we're here. The Cougars of Downingtown East visit the Patriots of Great Valley, come away with a 31-6 victory. Alex Rios opened his scoring with a 57-yard TD run down the right sideline. Rios had 212 yards on 29 carries, and Downingtown East improves to 3-2 and will take on Westchester East next week. We'll end the highlights with the Malvern Prep Friars traveling to Wilmington, Delaware to take on the Sallies of Salesianum. Malvern linebacker Jake Bauer rudely introduces himself to the Sallies, taking down a wide receiver on a jet sweep for a huge loss.
Look him find that lane and just get in
wow,
there.
Bauer's a heck of a player.
Yeah, that's quick.
Later, Malvern running back Chris Smith takes this counter 45 yards deep into Salesianum territory.
Yeah, he took it from Alex Malconian, or my fault. He took it from Jackson Malconian. And by the way, Pete, Jackson Malconian over the weekend accepted a baseball scholarship from Vanderbilt University.
Yeah, good for him.
Congratulations, Jackson and his father, Alex. I mean, that's quite a Vanderbilt's quite a program.
Okay, after the Smith run, we're going to see his backfield mate, Zeke Bates, finishes the drive with a 10-yard TD run.
Man, look at him just plow guys over there. So Malvern takes a 13-3 lead,
and they're
with 4:09 left in the second quarter.
Second period, yeah. And we're going to see Malvern's defense, again coming up big, continues to show out as 6'5" defensive end Bernard Blakely tips the attempted slip screen to himself for a big-time interception. Okay, set up deep into Sally's territory. Malvern scores again as quarterback Andrew Pellicata takes the quarterback power and fights his way for a tough 5-yard touchdown run. Malvern wins 27-3.
Yeah, they punched an O in the fourth. That made it 20-3. Pellicata, they like to use him as a wildcat down in there because he is probably one of their better athletes, even though they got a ton of them. So congratulations to Malvern. That's a big win for them. And that'll do it for our highlight segment of the show. Coming up will be Coach Wolf's interview with Downingtown West coach Tom Klein.
Tom Wolf here for Chester County Gridiron Insiders. Joined today by head coach for the Downingtown West Whippets, Tom Klein. But before we talk to Tom, here's a word from PA Rebels.
If you're looking for a travel baseball program that is competitive but focuses on player development, please check out the PA Rebels program out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Their development program has led to over 45 players gain college baseball opportunities over the past 4 years.
Tom, how you doing today?
Good, Tom. How are you?
You should be good. You're 4-0. You guys are playing great football, all three phases of the game. Want to start off by asking, you're going into the season, everybody in the county is thinking, how do you replace a legend like Mike Milano? What are your thoughts on that process, and how have you kind of put your imprint on this program?
Well, you would probably be the 1,000th person to say I've had big shoes to fill over the last couple months, and I'm well aware. He's an amazing person, coach. I've learned so much from him. He's still around. He comes out, watches practice, talks. We text all week and talk. It's been, I'll say this, the one thing getting used to is all eyes are on me right now. I think the town of Downingtown is well aware of who I am right now, and I think they're very curious to see, what our next chapter is going to be. As far as the stamp that I put on things, I wanted to make it a mission here to make our program more community-based. So outside of us just playing on the field, I want us getting more involved in our youth programs around here, running clinics, going to the games, seeing the kids in the hallways, things that we can do with other programs in the school, with the teachers. Just overall, getting our players just out in the community, working with the band, being out there, being supportive of all the other programs, and just making this more of a community effort. And then on the field, I am hands-on as hands-on gets. I am running our off-season conditioning program. I run our after-practice conditioning. I do our Saturday morning post-game yoga. So if we're doing something that's football-related, I am right in the middle of it and see everything and see everybody that's doing it. And I think that's been my touch on things.
Football-wise, watching film and seeing you guys live, there's still shades of the Mike Milano, wing tee, and spread concepts, but we can really see the power running game. Being the O-line coach, I'm assuming that's your doing.
Yeah. Well, that was one thing when we met and when we started putting things together in March. One of the things I did want to emphasize is I love running the ball. I want to run 2 tight end sets sometimes, 3 tight end sets if I can. And I want to run the ball. Doesn't mean I don't want to throw the ball. I want to take what the defense gives us. But definitely a little bit more emphasis on the run game with me. And again, that's just who I've always been, and I kind of brought that with me.
Let's talk about your quarterback, and Chase Bricker. He's also had big shoes to fill with Hennicle, 2-year starter, all-league player. Watching Chase on film last few weeks, I mean, he's not making mistakes. He's making plays for you. How's he developing?
Cole's great. He's a great kid. I saw him last year as our JV quarterback, and I just saw right away like he's a special kid. And almost like what I'm dealing with right now, I'll never be able to be Coach Milano, and Cole knows right now I can never be Quinn Hennicle, and we're just trying to be our own people. I'm trying to be Tom Klein running this team, and he's trying to be Cole Bricker, starting quarterback, and he's creating his own thing. And we've said that. We're trying to set our own standard right now. We're a relatively new coaching staff and a new quarterback, new team, and that's kind of like been our theme all year is we're setting our standard.
Last question. I know you got Avongrove tonight, so you got Avongrove on your brain.
Yeah.
You're the game of the week next week, though, with Westchester Ruston. Any initial thoughts on Westchester Ruston?
Well, I have not watched a minute of film on Ruston. That's not my thing. After tonight's game, I said about midnight tonight, I'll be sitting back and I'll put some film on and take a peek at them. Coach St. Clair and I have been friends for a long, long time. We coached together 25 years ago at Westchester East, and then when he first opened up Ruston, I coached with him for the first 2 years that they opened. So we have a tremendous respect for each other. It's the first time our programs are playing against each other, so that's going to be super exciting. And I think more than that, I have such respect for him and his coaching staff and what they do. I'm really looking forward to the game.
It's going to be a great one.
Yeah.
Tom, I appreciate the time. Good luck
you.
tonight. Good luck next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Tom, great job, man, on the interview with Coach Klein. That was really, really impressive. I don't know. I'm going to have to start thinking about making a change. Maybe Pete just, you guys might have to tag team somebody here.
Yeah, when best ability is availability. So when Pete's unavailable, I'll step up.
I got it. He was on assignment again. All right, new segment. We are going to do a roundtable. So we're still going to break down film, and fortunately for us, this is an unbelievable one to have. We probably have so far would be the game of the year. So we have 5-0 Ruston going against 5-0 Downingtown West. Both teams have shown that they are the best teams against who they've played. And just it's a great opportunity for us to have this game. So Coach Mitten and myself will take a look at the defenses, and Coach Wolf, or actually we'll take a look at the offenses of both Ruston and Downingtown West, and Coach Wolf will look at both defenses. So let's start out and take a look at the Downingtown West defense. All right, here we go.
All right, so what just for the audience's sake, what we're doing is this is basically our Sunday coaches meeting, and what we used to do is when we're breaking down our opponent, you look at their base defense and you look at the players that you got to be aware of defensively, and so in this clip we highlighted number 3, safety Darian Smith. He's a 3-year starter. He moved over from cornerback. He's playing safety this year. He's also playing a lot of offense. And this just shows what a special athlete this kid is. I believe he's going to West Point, EJ?
Yes, Army, yes.
Yeah.
We're not really sure. He's so good athletically at what he does, we're not sure if he's going to be a defensive player or an offensive player.
And this just shows right now, Springford's just going to run a quick little flat, and as we watch the clip run, the kid who catches the ball's got a lot of space. But if you just watch Darian Smith, number 3 at the near hash or the far hash in the film, the way he makes the play and just watch the clip, it talks for itself.
Yeah. Excellent tackle.
It's open field. It just the coaches rely on Coach Plank, the defense coordinator, just relies on him to make that play. So if I'm preparing for Downingtown West, I'm circling Darian Smith, number 3, and we got to be aware of where he is every snap.
And he's right here.
So this is our next clip. This is a good example of what Coach Plank does as defense coordinator. A lot of pre-snap movement. The outside linebacker on this play, number 28, if you could run that back, he's at the top of the screen, and he shows late. He shows so late that Springford's O-line doesn't pick him up at all. It's a simple split flow inside zone play by Springford, but because 28 Jackson shows so late, he's unaccounted for and he makes the play. All right, next clip. Number 22, if you could circle number 22, that's Carter Bryant. And what he does a real good job of attacking the pulling guard and closing down the hole on this run by Springford. Running back sports inside, where sophomore Max Wolfington, who started as a freshman last year. Coach Mitten, how many freshmen have you had starting for you?
Not very many.
Yeah, this kid's going to be a special player. Again, he's only a sophomore. He does a real good job avoiding the second-level block from the left tackle at Springford and makes the tackle. So real good fundamental football that Coach Plank is coaching over at West. Our last clip is the great goal line stand here by Downingtown West. And what Coach Plank does here, he dials up a couple twists. He has the defensive end on the left going out, the outside linebacker coming behind him. He has the nose going to the left A gap or left B gap, and the inside linebacker coming
Here,
through
we
the
can
A
show
gap.
that again.
Yeah, show these twists again, because this is a real nice play here down on the goal line. And the pressure forces the
slow-mo,
spring
too.
quarterback
There you
to,
go.
yeah. So, I mean, just the pressure and the different looks confuse the blocking scheme. And you see this spring four quarterback really has nowhere to throw the ball.
Well done.
So, I mean, you guys as defensive coordinators, the best thing you can do is confuse the offensive line, and this is what West did on this play.
All right. Yeah, West has been playing great fundamental football. They align, they assign, and then they tackle. So that's, I would say, a major reason why they're 5-0. Their best wins would be Perk Valley and Springford, correct? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed with the Smyrna team from Delaware, but they are highly rated. So
Fast to the ball, guys. That's the thing.
You'll
that really
see
stands
later
out
in our
for me.
highlight, or you saw it previously in our highlights, what they did when their backs were against the wall against Avongrove. They probably had the play of the year.
correct.
With 96-yard interception return.
All right, so now we're going to move to the Downingtown West offense. Okay, and take a look. So, Steve, you want to take it from here?
Sure. Cole Bricker has really been an outstanding quarterback for Downingtown West. You know, the Downingtown West has had Will Howard, who's at Ohio State, Cole Heineke, even Evan Wickersham was a really tough kid for him in 21. The thing that really impresses me with this play is watch how Cole Bricker stands in the pocket and delivers the completion, even though he has pressure right in his face. You know, that's extraordinary for an NFL quarterback to have a high school kid do this. Well, watch the shot that he takes, and he delivers the ball.
Okay, so there's the guy that's going to hit him. Keep an eye. Ooh. And that's just an all hooks route, right, Coach?
Yeah.
Minton?
Yep. Fish. Yeah. Yeah, and delivers a accurate and complete ball.
And
Early
then
play
not
on.
only that, look, he's already on his feet, and he's going over to get the next play.
Right. Right. Tough kid.
Coach Wolf's kind of quarterback.
Yeah,
That's not-
indicative
I tell you
of
that,
Downingtown
you know.
West players. They're tough kids. The thing I liked about the next one, this is a mesh concept. He steps up in the pocket, no panic. He's not looking
Do
to
me a
run the
favor,
ball.
Coach Steve, real quick. Can you just give us a little bit more on the our average viewer might not really know what mesh is.
Sure. So there you have three receivers three receivers running to the right, and then 14 is going to be trying to sneak inside, and he's trying to make it over towards the Downingtown West sidelines underneath to pop open. But it's a good play by a linebacker from Springford to reroute him. Look how far up he ends up going. Now, he's supposed to be over like right where that 20-yard line marker is on the field. There's a wide open area. He's not there for Bricker, but Bricker steps up and delivers the touchdown pass. Looking at a secondary receiver. Pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, that's very, very high level quarterback play.
And it's great. He escapes the pocket, and most high school quarterbacks are just going to tuck the ball and run, but he keeps his eyes downfield and throws a great pass for a touchdown.
Yep. Same thing here. The next play is a wheel route. Now they had run this earlier as an incompletion, even though they're looking for the slot running the wheel out here on the sideline. But he earlier in the game had thrown to the slot running the wheel route, and it was incomplete. He saw the wide out. He saw the wide out was open, or I'm sure somebody upstairs saw the wide out was open. And now this time he delivers it for a big play inside the 5 to the wideout, to the X receiver.
And Coach Wolf, who's playing slot?
That's Darian Smith.
You got it.
That kid, I don't think he ever leaves the field.
Get your guys the ball, right? Get your guys the ball in space.
Yeah. When you got the Jimmies, you're going to beat the Joes.
One thing, a Chestnut team going up to play a Pac-10 team, you got to get this in the end zone, right? You always know there's going to be that mystery holding call coming up, and that happens against West. And we'll see Bricker make another play in a couple plays with his legs, and get them back in position to score another touchdown. Here's another quads look from Downingtown West. 4 receivers to the left, and again, a great play, feeling pressure by Bricker to deliver the ball for a touchdown to your guy, Darian Smith.
Now, here's one thing. If you're a defensive coordinator and you're scouting Downingtown West, right, this is a formation that is not a normal formation. You got literally all your 5 guys to one side. 2 of these guys have to be on the line of scrimmage because you don't have an end man on the line of scrimmage over here, right? So number 4 is ineligible. He can't go out. So watch what he does. Now, see if Springford has anyone covering him. Like, is this guy on him as number 1? And then, therefore, he's wasted. He's not in the play. There you go. Another touchdown pass.
Great job delivering the ball. The other couple of runs, Bricker is a versatile guy, and they run him a lot. Some of their most successful runs against Springford were quarterback runs. Here he is running quarterback counter tray. Both guard and tackle from this near side are going to kick and pull, lead up in the hole, the old Redskins counter tray. And this time you have the quarterback running it. What was this called?
Interesting point on this.
Was Waz, right? Was this Waz? Or was this Wakeman?
Coach Wolf, what were you going to say?
I mean, an interesting point. They're running Bricker a lot. When I went to visit him for spring practice, I went to visit West for spring practice, and it was still a quarterback competition. Chris Olson, the offensive coordinator, wasn't sure who the quarterback was going to be. He said that Bricker could throw the ball better, but they were worried about him running. Obviously, you don't have to worry about that now.
Well, I'm going to let you know a little secret. So this is still, the principles, I think, of Coach Milano's offense, even though they don't do exactly everything the same. But the one thing that I knew as a defensive coordinator is when push came to shove and the game was on the line, they would have typically, whether it was Will Howard, whether it was Quinn Hennicle, or now probably whether it's Cole Bricker, you get inside the red zone and it's like a 4th down play. He loves to run that quarterback, always did. So we always had a blitz that we were ready to dial up, and fortunately it did win us a game or 2 against Downingtown West where they probably should have beaten us, but I just kind of knew the play that was coming. So that's something, obviously different organization now, different, not the same guy calling the plays, but that's something that he loved to do.
Well, I mean, this is the highest compliment. Downingtown West looks like a Mike Milano coach team, and that's to the credit of how good Chris Olson and Tom Klein have done preparing their kids, and how good Mike Milano did preparing those assistant coaches to take over. So here's a little bit of a unique play design. H-back and play side, not backside, play side guard leading on this quarterback counter. And successful run. Last one was a scramble. Again, watch Cole Bricker with pressure in his face make 2 guys miss, after like a mystery movement call, legal procedure call. Makes 1 guy miss right there, makes another guy miss, and puts the ball inside the 1. I don't know if he got in, but inside the 1, and West scored on the next play.
Okay.
Now, before we get to the Rustin, I always love to have a mobile quarterback, because when you can run a quarterback and he's another athlete on the field. I coached all 3 Lawletta kids. They were like that. Jamie Jenkins, last quarterback I coached, he could pull it down and run with it. When you got a guy that you can design quarterback runs for, it just adds a different element. And you guys, speaking as defensive coordinators, what kind of headaches did that give you?
It's just, you're right. It's got to be something else you got to defend. So, depending upon how good he is, right, your quarterback and running, do you have to spy him? Do you have to, maybe you don't, like one of the things that I always said I wanted to do was, look, we can't get after Hennicle. Like, let's just not try and sack him. Let's hem him in. I know when we at Coachville had Ricky Ortega,
that's what we tried to do. Don't let Ricky get outside, because if Ricky got outside, it was a ball game.
Harrisburg did it really, really well. Now they had some chimneys. They had a guy going to Texas A&M, so it was probably a lot easier. But, it's just, you can play great coverage, and then, you're like, we got him. And then all of a sudden, he gets through and he breaks off a 20, 25-yard run. It's so debilitating for your defense. Like, it's like basically taking all the air out of your balloon there, right? And it's just, it can kill you on a drive. So, all right, let's take a look at Ruston. Let's take a look at Ruston's defense, Coach Wolf.
Ruston's defense is, I tell you what, they're grown men out here. They run a 4-man front, and when you run a 4-man front, you're asking your D linemen, interior and the D ends, you're asking them to be playmakers, and that's what they are. Right defensive end here. If you circle the right defensive end, his name is Luke Spitzer, number 33. He made plays all throughout this game against Pope John Paul a couple weeks ago.
It's this guy right here?
Yeah.
Coach?
Right there. Yeah, that's him. And you just watch him on the get off. They're running a quarterback power.
Yep.
And all he does, he gets upfield and then he flattens right down the line just like he's coached to do. And he gets to the quarterback before the quarterback can make a play. The play's blocked up, but just because Spitzer's so athletic, he makes a tackle for a 1-yard gain. Right. This next clip, moving from the secondary, or moving from the D line to the secondary, circle number 22. This Chase Hatton kid, we were talking right before the show. I think him and Darian Smith, he's up top here. There he is. These are the two best football players in Chester County. They both go both ways. They both play running back and safety. Pope John Paul here is just running a 4 vertical route concept with trips and an open guy on the end. And Chase just reads this play. Hatton reads this play. Number 3 running the bend seam, and he sees the quarterback's going to throw to him, reads his eyes. Look at the break on this play. And the last thing, he's going to let the receivers know. I almost worry for this Hatton kid because he hits so hard.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was actually at this game, and I believe he missed the last 2 defensive series because the offensive player missed it too, but he lowered the boom on him a couple times, and I think he literally had to take himself out of the game. He kind of knocked himself a little silly.
And this is another kid, I believe. Is he going to a service academy, or is he still kind of weighing his options? D1?
Is he a Navy guy too?
I think he's going to Navy. And Smith's going to West Point. So we may have an early Army-Navy rivalry going on.
Not only that, then you add another guy from Malvern Prep and Bauer, the linebacker. So we got a lot of guys going to service academies, which is great to see. You get through 5 years there, you're set for life. So
absolutely.
Kudos to those kids.
And it's a great compliment to their parents and to the coaches. Moving on, let's go to this next clip here. Another defensive lineman, if you could circle number 27, he's the left defensive tackle. Again, they give their defensive linemen responsibilities to make plays. This kid makes a great play here. If you run this through, he's left unblocked for some reason. I don't know how you leave him unblocked. And they're trying to run a quick slant, and he just gets his hands up in the air and knocks down the pass attempt. So, again, just a good example of Ruston relying on their D-line to make plays.
Mike Mooring is excellent defensive line coach. Played for San Diego Chargers, has been there for the history of the program, was at Westchester East before. Their kids are always fundamentally sound.
It's going to be a great matchup with Downingtown West's offensive line versus his defensive front 7.
And it's at Westchester Ruston, so get your tickets early.
Yeah, we'll be there. Last play, obviously we focused on the D-line and the secondary, but their linebackers for Ruston, they're solid, all 3 levels of defense. Number 44,
looking at this guy over here, right?
I think it's Pat Maychak, number 44, the big inside linebacker. He reads the inside shovel pass, what a staple of the spread offense for Pope John Paul. Halfback is the lead blocker, slot back on the right, he receives a shovel. But Maychak sees the play, he reads it right off the snap. He slides unblocked through the backside A-gap and makes a great open field tackle. So, again, just great fundamental football by this team.
I think your guy 33 was there as well, Coach.
They're all there, man. I'm one of the reasons I got out of coaching. I wouldn't want to be playing these guys.
All right, Coach Mitten, you're up. This looks like Rustin's offense.
Yep, this is it. First play from Rustin. Power.
This looks like a new conventional offensive formation here. I haven't seen it before. What is?
What, a wing and a slot? Yeah, wing and a slot.
Yeah, we call it divide. It's one of the number one wing T formations. Here we go. I was just kidding people.
Motion. Thing to recognize with this one, they have the fullback, and his track is perfect, backside guard. But watch what the slot does. Watch how the slot forces the outside linebacker to widen and makes the hole actually bigger by this outside release that he takes. Takes outside release. Look at the size of that hole. Great job by Hatton setting up his downfield blocks. And if you play Westchester Rustin, you better have an answer for this play because they're going to run it 35, 40 times.
Out of a bunch of different formations. Now I'm going to bite my tongue here because I don't want Coach St. Clair, attacking me. But I do not love the way that Pope John Paul played that. I don't know how the heck you can play power that way. But like I said, I'll bite my tongue for now.
Yeah, looking at the offense. Here's a better look at the backside guard. Backside guard does a nice job pulling, little pre-snap motion. Rustin
what
always
the heck
seems
are
to
they doing
have
with that
these guys-
motion, Coach?
Just
Why are they doing that?
trying to flip the strength and get you to adjust, and Pope John Paul doesn't adjust very much, and they're kind of outmanned off tackle over here. And if you're outmanned off tackle against Rustin, it's going to be a long afternoon for you, or a long evening.
We used to call that an eyeball adjustment.
Yeah.
You see him moving, but you don't really do anything to it.
Yeah. Rustin always seems to have these backside guards, these guards that can go and make these plays for him year after year after year. That's great coaching by John Timko, their offensive line coach, who is really one of the best around. Great blocks downfield. So you're all packed into the inside. Rustin will still get the ball on the edge to you, running jet. Here they are. They have Hatton, and he runs jet to the outside. Really good job by him with this little shoulder dip to set up his blocks here on the outside.
It's also a great job by perimeter blocking by the receiver and that slot back.
Yeah,
Coach Mitten, can I ask you a question? Because, I don't really, I just kind of used to just guess and stuff like that. I really wasn't the guru that you are. Like, for me, I always thought that it was really more difficult to stop jet when you're under center as opposed to jet when you're – can you give us any thoughts on that, jet out of the gun?
Well, for Rustin, they're so, power, wing T base plays. So a lot of their stuff is more effective from under center. I know Coach
It just takes
always
less time for me, though. You know what I mean? Like, dude, if you're going to see this kid go and he goes now as opposed to running all the way back to a shotgun snap, like, you could rotate to that. And this is really hard to rotate to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. Especially when you're packed up to the inside.
The quarterback's under center, it hits faster.
Yeah. So I used to kid Saint because they used to tip it by moving the fullback offset.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Garnet Valley used to do that with their quick pitch too, and now they don't do it anymore, and Saint doesn't do this, so it's really tough to pick up.
Yeah. Yeah, when you got a guy like Chase Hatton running the ball, yeah, it's pretty effective. Okay, here's
the other guy,
guy.
Loper.
Yeah, here you're talking about your downfield blocks, Coach. Look at all those downfield blocks. Look how everybody's
white
set
shirts,
up.
hat on a hat. And they don't have to be devastating blocks. You just
Look
have
at
to
your one guy blocking here, Coach, out on the edge here. I got one. He cuts off another guy. Now you got the tight end.
That's just great.
Hat
That's
murdering
great
somebody
teamwork
there.
right there.
Yeah.
He's not getting the ball here, but he knows how important the play is. That's just great effort.
So now you're looking strong side. Now you're looking tight end side. Here comes Belly. One of the most basic Delaware wing T plays, and they're going to run it and run it and run it and run it. And
they cross block here, Coach?
I was just going to ask the same thing, Tom. I don't think so because of the shades, right? They just could.
Oh yeah, no, they don't cross block. They don't. They got a 1 and a 5, so they don't have to.
Yeah, and he just leads right up on this dude.
That's a simple play there.
And remember, I don't want to take anything away from number 20. I believe this is one of his first games playing fullback, so he's a lot. And then they switched 2 guys in there. I think it was 20 and 48. But remember, they used to have another guy running it. Was it Will Gardner, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine how explosive this offense would be if they had everybody back from last year?
Yeah, well, they had a couple injuries too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And so now you're looking inside linebackers. You're thinking run. Linebacker doesn't get the back out of the backfield, and Rustin's off to the races again.
And I think this is a big addition to this Rustin team, being able to throw the ball. You don't have to be Dan Marino back there. For all you young kids, Dan Marino was a quarterback. You don't have to be Patrick Mahomes back there, but
there you go.
Yeah, if you can throw the ball a little bit with this offense, I mean, it can be devastating.
It's everything, right? So there you go.
Big game.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully the whole district will be looking forward to it. And there we go. So let's throw it to the prediction segment. I think we have another guy coming on that you might recognize. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Outstanding job. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. All right, that's the round table there. I hope everybody likes that segment. You can let us know. What do you think that's new? So now we're to predictions, and look who's back. Great Nate. All coming off of a, 6-2 week? Or you were
7-1. Yeah, 7-1.
7-1. There was only one person that was 7-1. Yours truly. So now I believe that my record is 44-10. Nate's is 7-1. Congrats. Tom, he's not here with us because he fell into second place. He's behind myself now, Coach Moyer, and Pete.
Bringing up the rear.
41-13. That's all right. I sense you're going to make a comeback this week, Pete, so we're in good shape. All right, let's start with the picks. First game, we have Coatesville versus Avongrove. Avongrove travels to Coatesville. I think in talking to Coach Coffey this week, he said that he felt like his team played one of the better games of the year. I concur in watching the film. It's just very disappointing. They had a chance to take a 20-13 lead at the half on Downingtown West, and unfortunately it was a 14-point swing. There was an interception thrown and returned for a touchdown, and Downingtown West took the 20-13 lead at the half. But other than that, Avongrove stuck in there. I know Coatesville. Nate, you were at the game. They handed it to Westchester East, I think. So I think this is going to be a tough one. I'm taking Coatesville. Coach Wolf is also taking Coatesville. Pete?
Coatesville.
And Nate?
Yeah, I'm taking Coatesville. I think they're trying to get a couple wins under their belt and get some momentum going before they play those Downingtown teams. So.
Yeah, Coming up. I agree. All right, we have Shanahan at Westchester Henderson. Shanahan, great win last week. Picked by myself, and who else had Shanahan last week?
I did.
So Nate, obviously the 2 guys that went 7-1. All right, so I got Shanahan. I just think that they're on a roll right now, and they're just a little bit too much offensively for Henderson, in my idea. They have a really good running back and a nice passing game. It's like they have 3 guys that can make plays, and Henderson, we know what they have. Collins, I'm sure he's going to break a couple, but I just think Shanahan's going to be too much, and that's at Henderson. Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go Shanahan too. Just after last week, Henderson with just too many turnovers last week. They got to fix that up before they can beat somebody that they're maybe not supposed to.
Coach Wolf also has Shanahan as well.
I like Shanahan. Anthony Aquila, their quarterback, 10 for 10 for 100 yards last week. Henderson's given up 42 points twice this year. I think they give up 42 again Friday night.
There you go. Bold statement. Westchester East at Downingtown East. So Downingtown East returns to Kottmeyer. They probably didn't play the game they would have liked last week. Pete, you can probably mention more about that. But I'm still, I'm going to take them over Westchester East. I think Westchester East, might have some guys out. I know they got banged up a little bit before Coatesville, and I can't imagine they got much healthier against Coatesville. Nate, you were there.
Yeah, it seems like I've had Westchester East the last 2 weeks, and their injured core keeps getting a little bit bigger. So they've obviously taken some lumps the last couple of weeks. Another tough task against Downingtown East. I think the Cougars are the better team this week.
Yeah, and if Coach Matta, like Pete's going to tell you, wasn't too happy with the results of last week's game against Great Valley, although he Great Valley might have played one of their better games of the year. I'm sure they're going to come out fired up to maybe put a hurting on Westchester East. Pete?
Yeah, it wasn't a great performance by the Cougars. Head coach Michael Matta, very upset after the game. He said they were out-coached and out-prepared. Great Valley moved the football on them. Just that Downingtown East got tough when Great Valley got in the red zone. They're going to bounce back big here, I think.
Shockingly, Coach Wolf also has Downingtown East. All right, speaking of Great Valley travels to Academy Park. That'll be a Saturday game at 1 p.m. at Academy Park. Great Valley is now riding 4 straight losses, even though we think they might have played one of their better games. Nate, there we go. I thought a bear got you, pal.
Almost.
Nate, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one for Great Valley. It's one, if they can get that passing game going, it seems like they're getting a little better in that department the last few weeks, putting up a lot of numbers. But I think Academy Park has too many weapons on offense. They have a decent running game. They moved the ball pretty well against Unionville a couple of weeks when I covered them. So I like Academy Park, especially in an afternoon game to come out in a close one.
Yeah, I think Academy Park, they're coming off they're on a 3-game win streak. And I do, Great Valley has to travel there 1 o'clock on a Saturday. That's not the best thing in the world. Coming off of playing Downingtown East and a 4-game losing streak, I too will ride with Nate and Academy Park. I'm going to take the Knights. Coach Wolf, he's going to go the opposite direction. He's going to take Great Valley, and let's see what Pete wants to do.
I got Great Valley in this one. Their quarterback was lost for the year, Johnny Campbell. Ty Callahan came in, did a really nice job last week. He's got a big-time receiver in A.J. Diamond, who's the son of Matt Diamond, the ex-Conestoga head coach.
Yeah.
And Diamond had 6 catches, 108 yards. I think Great Valley gets their second win of the year.
Okay. We have Kennett at Sun Valley. Kennett will travel and play the Vanguards. Nate, how do you see this one?
Yeah, Kennett needs this one. Taking their lumps the last couple of weeks. They got Geyer back. It's a huge boost to them, but he hasn't gotten going yet. I think this is a chance for him to kind of get things going and take some of the pressure off their young quarterback McCracken. I think Kennett gets it done.
Pete?
Like Kennett in this one, the competition is a little less than they faced the last 2 weeks. Kennett's going to get the win here.
I also like Kennett. I think they will get Geyer going. He's probably one of the most, better players in that division, and he just, little rust. But I do think he'll get it going. In an interesting twist, Coach Wolf is going to go lone wolf, and he is taking Sun Valley. So this could be a great opportunity for Coach Wolf to catch up on Coach Moyer. All right. Malvern at Gonzaga. Gonzaga is a DC power. They play in a power conference. Malvern takes on all comers, and they will be traveling down to Gonzaga. This is going to be a really, really, really good game, but it's also going to be a really, really, really tough game for Malvern. Pete, you had some stats on Gonzaga?
Yeah, Gonzaga, 2 shutouts in their first 4 games. They've outscored their opponents 137-13, and they had a big win over St. John's Academy, who's usually a power down in the Metro DC area. Malvern's a really good team, but I don't see them winning down here. I like Gonzaga.
Coach Wolf also taking Gonzaga. Nate?
Yeah, I don't think Malvern has enough offense to go against that defense. The stats that Pete just mentioned, 13 points, and Malvern hasn't exactly been blowing the top off offensively, so that's going to be another tough one. I'll take the Zags.
Now, I will mention, Malvern played an outstanding game down at Salesianum last week. They really contained a very dangerous Salesianum team and held them to 3 points, winning 27-3. They jumped out and got their first quarter lead of the year, I believe. So it was great to see that. I just think Gonzaga is going to be too much. But this gets Malvern ready for the Interac, and that's what they kind of want. So I'll take Gonzaga as well. So that's 4 Gonzagas there. Unionville at Oxford. Okay, this is a good one. Pete?
I like Unionville. I mean, I'm happy to see Oxford on a 2-game winning streak.
Yes.
Head coach Mike Means thinks that they're on a roll right now. But Unionville, they played well against Shanahan. They could have won that game last week with fumbling going in the end zone one time. I like the Longhorn to bounce back here.
Nate.
Yeah, I'm going to take Unionville also, but I do think this is one of those games for Oxford where they could make a statement here if they could, just finally clear that hump against the Longhorns. I can't remember the last time they beat them. I think it's been a little while, but Oxford holding teams under 100 yards rushing this year. Probably one of their better defensive teams in a while. Oxford not always known for their defense. They run the ball really well. Unionville does not run the ball very well. So if Unionville can get the ball moving on the ground, I think they're in for a good night. I still think Unionville wins, but maybe in a closer game than a lot of people think.
Coach Wolf will also side with Unionville. I think it's be an interesting game. I could see this possibly being an upset. I like Unionville as well. I know they were playing really, really well. They just, like Pete said, they had an opportunity to win that game, and they didn't. But I think Unionville's going to, is now just like everyone else in the Chesmont. I'm confused. Is this a league game?
It's a league game.
Okay.
Chesmont South. Yep.
So this is a big league game then. This is a really big league game. But I will also side with everyone else on the state. I will take Unionville. All right. Now the heavy one. The heavyweight match of the week. This is the game of the week for us. To be Downingtown West at Ruston. I've tagged it as the game of the year so far in the Chesmont for sure. And it'll be at Ruston, 7 o'clock on Friday night. Nate, I know you're going to be covering the game, which puts us right where we want to be in the action. What do you got?
I think I'm going to pull a Kirk Herbstreit and not pick a winner for this game. How about that?
Interesting.
So,
now we're eventually going to need a pick. Well, let's just discuss the game though. Like, what do you see?
You look on paper. You look on paper. The numbers are almost identical on both sides. Westchester Ruston 5.8 points a game defensively. Downingtown West 11.2. They're the top two rush defenses in the area. They both take the ball away really well. Downingtown West averaging 32 points a game. Ruston 34. They're the top two run games in the area. So they both win the same way. They run the ball really well. They shut down the run really well, and they don't turn the ball over. Ruston has 2 turnovers this year. Downingtown West has 5, but all fumbles. So it's it'll be interesting. Actually, Ruston with 3 turnovers this year, but this is one that's really tough to pick because they're so similar. And obviously, West has played a little bit better schedule. Obviously, the Perk Valley win looks really good now that they beat Coatesville, and obviously on a roll a little bit. Spring Ford win is still a big one, even though the quarterback got knocked out. But I think they were winning at that point anyway. So, but I think Ruston has been in bigger games in the past with the core group. A lot of these guys on West, they watched a lot of big games last year, but they were behind some really good players. This is going to be their first really, really big game of their careers. And I think just because of that, I'm going to go with Ruston. But, this should be one of those good ones where it comes down to the wire, hopefully.
Pete.
This is going to come down to the wire, I believe, as Nate pointed out. Ruston on a roll, 94-10. They've outscored their last 2 opponents. This is, of course, a big step up in competition. They've got a lot of guys that can hurt you. Chase Hatt and Ryan Loper. The fullback, Will Garner, can hurt you. I think even though West stops the run, I think David McLean's going to surprise some people and hit a couple passes on the West secondary. If you watched film of the Avongrove West game, there were people running free for Avongrove. They just couldn't connect. I like Ruston here.
Coach Wolf also took Ruston, which would lead you to believe that I would take Ruston as well. I'm not taking Ruston. All right. I unfortunately for both teams, and the fans, really, I know both teams are kind of banged up a little bit. I know Ruston lost Garner in the beginning of the year, and he hasn't been back yet. They also have some other nicks and knacks. It's a hard-hitting club. And they have their bumps and bruises, and they miss guys. I know West has still had guys in their backfield out, but they seem to not really miss a beat. I feel like Ruston and West are very, very good against the run. I just feel like West is maybe a little bit more game prepared this year right now. They've played Perk Valley and they played, Springford, and were able to beat them. And I know being at the Ruston game, that was an unbelievable game on a Saturday at Pope John Paul, and Ruston pulled that out. I got a feeling, D West is, a little bit more battle tested. And I think even though they've had running backs out, their guys, they've had guys fill in and do very well. So I think if Ruston were at full strength, they are at home, I probably would be more willing to pick them. But I think, injuries might play a little factor there. And both of them have been sound, very sound. But West, they do a good job of stopping the run. That's one thing that they do. And what does Ruston do well? Ruston runs the ball very well. So Ruston, like you said, Pete, is going to have to be able to, add a wrinkle and throw the ball a little bit. And I don't think that they can't do it. I think they can do it. Are they going to be willing to do, what they need to do? And I'm not sure they will. So I'm going to take West, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, interesting.
Anything else?
Some sidebars for the game. Just thinking about Player of the Year in the Chesmont, you got obviously Darian Smith on West, just a really good two-way player, and obviously Hatton on Ruston, who's another really good two-way player. These are the big games where we want to see where the stars are all about, and just even looking forward, this is probably a bigger game for West, knowing they got to play East and Coatesville down the road, and Ruston's big games are more behind them than up front. So this is probably a bigger game for West just in terms of playoff seeding and all that kind of thing. So I'm not sure that they're thinking about that exactly, but
I don't know though. If Ruston wins, Nate, I mean, when they jump, they're at 3 right now in a 5A, and I think West is 2 in a 6A. If Ruston were to win, wouldn't they probably at least jump over Strathaven or?
Yeah, I'm just saying with West's remaining schedule, having to play Downingtown East. I know Ruston has to play Downingtown East next week too, but Downingtown East and Coatesville. West doesn't want to have as few wins or few losses as possible with those guys coming up. Basically, what I'm trying to say. So.
No, I agree. All right, so there it is. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Nate, thanks for joining us again. Hopefully, we'll see you next week, as we definitely next week have another little treat coming up. So we'll talk about that over the weekend, and we'll preview it. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you soon. Take care.